1992, we started field work on this side, on the west side of the Mir Lawash. That is the year basically we changed everything.
On December 17th, the desert gave up an ancient secret near the small Afar village of Aramis.
We were out walking those eroding deposits, reddish-brown in color, and Gensua found in amongst a lot of monkey fossils and fossil wood, he found a molar tooth, and it was the molar tooth of a hominid.
This single fossil tooth marked the beginning of a series of discoveries that would forever change the way we think about our place in nature. 2 days later, Ethiopian collector Alamayu Asfal discovered a child's jaw with its baby molar still attached. Another major find.
Both Gen and I looked at that molar and said, wow, we are looking at something very new here. We knew we had something really exciting and important, so we decided to do another field season to see what else we could find in those sediments at Aramis.
The next season, the Middle Awash team began what's called a 100% collection. Like a forensics unit at a crime scene, they combed every square inch of the blistering desert search area. A local Afar tribesman, Gadi Hamed, found something extraordinary, a set of teeth, all from the same individual. But there was more.
While we were doing the recovery operation, Alamayu, one of the great fossil collectors of all time, walked over the hill and came back, and he had discovered an arm bone.
The Middle Awash team had discovered a new and ancient hominid, one that predated Lucy by more than 1 million years. In the September 1994 issue of the journal Nature, they announced their discovery to the world and named this new creature Ardipithecus ramidus.
When we first announced in Nature in '94, a lot of people said, well, you know, do you think you're going to find something as complete as Lucy? And I said, no, I really don't think so.
The team had fossil teeth and bone fragments from 17 individuals, but no skeleton. Enough evidence to announce a major discovery, but not enough to shed much light on the creature itself.
We only had a collection of bones that I could literally hold all of those bones in 2 hands. That was all we knew of this Ardipithecus ramidus creature. We wanted more.
The project scientist returned to Aramis in 1994 to continue the search. But finding ancient fossils out here was not an easy job. Ancient Aramis was crawling with scavengers who chewed most fallen animals to pieces.
The problem we have is at a place like Aramis, most of the bodies were immediately ravaged by hyenas. And hominids in those days were no different. As soon as they hit the ground, the hyenas would have been there, chewing them to bits. The chances of us finding a skeleton under these depositional conditions, the chances of that, very, very low.
Johannes Haile Selassie was a graduate student at UC Berkeley.
We were like 10 or 12 people here. We were sort of crawling, semi-crawling this area, just shoulder to shoulder in a line. And this was probably about 4:30 in the afternoon when I picked up a little fragment of a hand bone, which was in this gully right here. So we had to come back the next day, and when we came back, we started finding more finger bones, more than 2 or 3 pieces. And obviously at that point, we knew that we had more than just a hand.
As the sediment is carefully swept from the surface, the scientists uncover an embedded leg bone.
It was so fragile, you couldn't even breathe on the thing. You had to drop preservative onto this specimen to solidify it, to effectively turn it into stone. And it was in this cracking sedimentary matrix, expanding and contracting with each rainstorm, so this was just about lost. We started to think, well, maybe this tibia belongs to the same individual whose hand bones we'd been finding.
November 9th, heavy, unseasonable rains hit the Middle Awash Valley. Flooding and deep mud confined the team to camp. All work is stopped.
More and more rain came. The river next to our camp was in flood, and it was in fact overbank. There was, we're pulling the kitchen up away from the channel, trying to save the food.
It took days for the rains to finally end.
After the ground dried out a little bit and was actually excavatable, we started to dig into this little tiny hill, hoping that the rest of a skeleton was inside. The prediction here is that as we excavate through this horizon, down through this little hill, that we will find more specimens. And all we can do now is excavate and hope for the best.
As the team continued to carefully probe the sediments, more and more fossil bones were recovered. At the time, the scientists had no idea that this would be just the beginning of a 15-year cold case investigation of a body buried in the Ethiopian desert for millions of years.